Learning to express yourself in a new language is, in a way, finding a new voice. And there is no more profound way to train that voice than to immerse yourself in a story that speaks to the very essence of having something to say. Today's narrative is an invitation for you to improve your English as we explore one of the modern artist's greatest battles. Social media was born with a promise to give us a stage, a chance to connect and share our art with the world. But what if this infinite stage was also a maze, where, by watching others, we end up losing the way back to ourselves? We scroll through a feed of perfectly lit stages, of finished masterpieces, and of seemingly instant successes. What we don't see is what's behind the scenes, the crumpled drafts, the hours of doubt, the vulnerable mess from which true art is born. This is the story of Khalil, a talented musician who was drowning in this ocean of digital perfection, and of how he found his way back to his own voice. In his small Brooklyn apartment, Khalil's guitar rested like a loyal friend, waiting for conversations that no longer happened. His talent was undeniable, a voice that wasn't technically perfect, but was viscerally honest, and a skill for writing songs that felt like pages torn from a diary. He didn't just sing notes, he translated feelings into melody. But in recent months, a toxic ritual had settled into his routine. It always began as research, or a search for inspiration. He would open TikTok, then Instagram, and dive into the work of other musicians. But inspiration quickly turned into comparison, and comparison into despair. He found himself adrift in an ocean of artists who seemed to have cracked the code. 15-second hooks that went viral, flawless productions recorded in professional studios, a confidence he felt he would never have. The result was always the same, and devastating. He would sit with the guitar on his lap, but his mind was filled with the noise of others. The melodies that came were echoes of what he had just heard. He tried to imitate trends, to create something that sounded polished and viral-worthy, but his voice came out false, soulless. The honest song that lived inside him could no longer find its way out. His authentic voice had been silenced, buried under the crushing fear of not being good enough to compete on the infinite stage. Frustrated, Khalil put down his guitar. The silence in his apartment was no longer peaceful. It was the sound of his own creative surrender. Needing air, he went out to walk aimlessly through the streets of Brooklyn, until his feet stopped him in front of a shop window that seemed to belong to another decade. It was a small, old vinyl record store, an analog oasis in the middle of the city's digital desert. He went inside, and the traffic noise was replaced by the smell of old cardboard and the silent promise of real music. Behind the counter was Elijah, the shop's owner, a man in his late 40s, whose hands handled the records with the reverence of someone touching something sacred. He wasn't a salesman, he was a guardian. He spoke of the hiss of a needle on vinyl not as a flaw, but as the breath of the music, the proof that human hands and hearts had been there, before any computer. Elijah noticed the young musician's lost expression and, with the wisdom of someone who has seen many souls in search of a melody, started a conversation. Seeing the genuine anguish in Khalil's eyes, he listened. And there, in that sanctuary of tangible sound, Khalil poured his heart out. He spoke about the pressure to create a perfect sound, about the weight of having to compete with the incessant glow of screens, and how the search for a viral-worthy sound was suffocating his simple, honest desire to create music. Elijah listened with a patience that seemed to absorb all of Khalil's anxiety. He didn't offer words of comfort or abstract advice. Instead, he stood up, went to the back of the store, and returned holding an old 4-track cassette recorder, its corners worn and its buttons promising a mechanical resistance, not a digital touch. He placed it on the counter with a soft, heavy thud, and then gave Khalil not advice, but a challenge. A prescription. For 1 week, Elijah said, his voice calm but firm. Forget the computer. Your only job is to fill this tape. With mistakes, with background noise, with your unfiltered voice. The goal isn't to make a perfect song, it's to make your song. Khalil looked at the machine, skeptical. That technology seemed like a step backward, a joke in a world of unlimited digital studios. But then he looked at Elijah's face, and he saw not an antiques dealer, but a doctor offering a strange and ancient remedy. And because he was desperate enough to try any cure, any path out of the silence, he accepted the challenge. He took the recorder home, feeling the weight of that obsolete technology like an unknown promise. The first few days were a battle against instinct. Khalil's mind, trained in the digital world of Control-Z, wanted to fix every little flaw, every note slightly offbeat. But the recorder was unforgiving. It was demanding. It demanded that he be present, that he deliver the song with the emotion of the moment, because there would be no easy fix later. He was forced to abandon the pursuit of perfection and, instead, pursue expression. It was when he rewound the first tape and pressed play that the epiphany happened. Beneath the soft, characteristic hiss, he heard something he hadn't heard in years. His own voice. Raw, vulnerable, honest. He heard his breath before a verse. He heard the sound of his fingers sliding on the guitar strings. He heard a slight hesitation before a chorus. And he realized that these were not flaws to be edited out. It was life. It was the proof that a human being, with a beating heart, had been there. With a clarity that surprised him, he picked up his phone. But for the first time in months, he didn't do it to consume, but to create. He propped up the phone, recorded a simple, single-take video of one of the songs from the tape, Hiss and Awe, and he posted it, with no filters, no excessive editing, with a caption that just said, "This is me, right now." The video didn't explode with millions of views. It didn't go viral, but something different, and much more profound, happened. The engagement he received wasn't from quick likes, but from long, sincere comments. People writing about how the honesty of the music touched them, how the vulnerability in his voice made them feel less alone. And Khalil understood. He hadn't found 1 million followers. He had found his true audience. Khalil's journey reminds us of a fundamental truth in the digital age. In a world that screams for perfection, that demands a flawless shine, and that measures value in likes and shares, your imperfect authenticity is not a weakness. It is your greatest and rarest strength. Human connection is not born from a flawless performance, but from the courage to share who we really are. Today's story leaves us with a question for our own soul. What noise, that of comparison, of others' expectations, of self-criticism, do I need to silence in order to finally hear my own unique melody? If this message about finding your authentic voice in the midst of the noise resonated with you, leave a comment below. Like and share the video so this lesson can reach other artists and creators who feel lost. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that help you learn English. Until next time, silence the noise, trust your imperfections, and turn up the volume on your own voice.